slates this season, so you know what we're going to do here is strap in and do the work. Do what we always do on the Splash Play channel, compare my projections, some industry leaders out there, in particular, our friends at Stokastic, comparing my data to their projections and their ownership projections. We'll hop over to Unabated, see what the best market-based bets are. We'll hop back to Stokastic, see what the best DFS sim lineups are without my data involved. And by the end of this video, you know all the industry must-plays and my Splash Plays for today's NBA Slate 2-gamer here. Let's get into it. Obviously, crucial games aboard today, though. We do have a 2-2 game for the Denver series. Denver and OKC tied there. Cleveland series, much more important, 3-1 there. Looks like Donovan Mitchell will be playing today based on him being at shoot-around. He was a Q-tag, hurt his ankle. Not as serious of an injury as it looked like yesterday for Jason Tatum. So Tatum expecting to be done possibly for a very long time. Mitchell expecting to be back today. That's the main updates you need to know heading into this one. We got Nikola Jokic, though, top projected player in the slate. So once again, he looks like your top play, a little bit underpriced at 11.4. 69.3 fantasy points is where I have him at. He's got a 63.6 projection from Stokastic. As a result, this is the first time this actually happened in the playoffs so far. I'm getting Jokic in 100% of my lineups, and I have some concern about that. Number one, because this is a 2-2 situation, it's not an elimination game for Denver, even though I'm sure they prefer to be up 3-2 as opposed to being down 3-2. It's a spot where if the Thunder run away with this one, Jokic can get pulled pretty easily. They could play 3/4 of the run and that's it, because they're trying to keep the guys ready for that elimination game if the Thunder build a big lead. I don't know if practically I will pay 100% Jokic or play 100% Jokic, but that said, with this projection being 17.5 points higher than SGA's, he's so well projected he pops in every lineup with a Stokastic sim. So for me right now, Jokic is like an every lineup play. Still, though, practically in terms of the game theory, in terms of how you actually want to approach a slate, he probably shouldn't be in every lineup play, but he's coming up a lot here. He's well projected. It all makes sense. Shouts to chat. Appreciate our guy, Extra QT. He's always kind. Jake, Chunk, appreciate all you guys being here. If you are watching live right after the fact, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Goes a long way for me here. And of course, if you want more content from me today, I've got 2 best ball streams coming up. One at 3 p.m. on Stokastic, part of a co-branded deal with DraftKings. That's coming up at 3 p.m. Eastern. And at 4 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be doing drafters, rather. So DraftKings, drafters, both PPR sites will be hitting today. So check those out today. 3 p.m. on the Stokastic channel, 4 p.m. on a Splash Play pod channel. So next projected guy, pretty big gap here between SGA and Nikola Jokic. The field projected to play SGA more. I am obviously getting 100% Jokic, so that's not possible for me. But 40% ownership going SGA's way, 17% for me in my top 150. Obviously, you can do the math yourself. That means that 17% of my lineups have Jokic and SGA together in the sim. So something to keep in mind there, that you are getting some intra-game correlation for that second game on the slate today. The totals in the games, just to quickly touch on that, Indiana Cleveland actually a much higher total today, 9 implied points more, with a 230 combined total for Indiana Cleveland compared to 221 for Denver OKC. So it's not as skewed as it has been in previous games where we've had both teams playing on the same day. And shout out Jake here, top $105. Glad to hear that. $5 for hoops. I don't know what the $5 is for hoops, but shout out to Jake. Either way, glad to get those results no matter what. I had a not great day, so it's fine by me. Really, I think the biggest things were that you needed to have Brunson along with Tatum. I didn't have enough of those guys combined. Towns wasn't in a winning lineup, but he and Brandel basically ended up net even on points. So I feel okay about those takes overall. But I know Steve Buzzard, Stokastic guy, if you want to co-sign for Stokastic's data, which I'll give you guys the plug for, 15% off, link down below. Steve Buzzard, who's the CFO, I think, still technically of Stokastic. He's definitely one of their finance leads. He won the NBA tournament yesterday and also an MLB tournament on FanDuel, both for 100K. So big wins for him using Stokastic sim tools and data. So check it out for yourself. You want to get in there, and no guarantee you'll win 100K like that guy. He's one of the top DFS players in the world, Steve Buzzard, the Colts, if you want to know his username. But crazy to see those results, and that's been the case all year for a lot of the Stokastic subs if you want to get in there. Donovan Mitchell. So Mitchell, I think Unabated has today at a 65% chance to play because he went through shoot-around. So with Mitchell being at shoot-around, expectations that'll go. Obviously, Mitchell's a gamer. The big thing that jumped out to him going through the numbers from last game, he was the worst player, I think, in plus-minus last game. Let me confirm that here. He had minus 35. For comparison's sake, Evan Mobley playing more minutes had a minus 27 point plus minus there. Max Strus, negative 22. Garland actually negative 21 is a little bit better. And Mitchell now being injured going into that as well. I think Mitchell's offensive contributions have kind of underscored, or I guess maybe overstated, how important he is in the series, because he's actually killing them defensively a good amount, which I think is part of why you're seeing that plus minus be so bad. For Mitchell, though, he's got to play minutes no matter what. The minutes probably shouldn't get as high as they would be before because of the fact he is banged up and probably I don't know, 80% at best, 75%, somewhere in that range. So Mitchell, 32% for the field. I'm getting 4. If you want to chase the usage, you certainly can. But last game, Garland actually had more usage the time these guys were together on the court. Garland finished with 30.5% usage. Mitchell finished with 29.5. Obviously, some of that with Garland as well was after Mitchell got hurt. He put up a 33% usage rate in the third quarter where Mitchell didn't play. But I think it's kind of starting to even out a little bit more. And with the injury, I think Garland gets more shots up today. So personally, I would favor Garland over Mitchell, but you can follow your heart here with Mitchell being 32% owned or expected owned by Stokastic. The Colts took down the $5 on what? Okay. Oh, you're talking on FanDuel? Okay. I've been donating, but the change is coming. It's all ebbs and flows in NBA DFS, as I say in general. And it's something that Alex Baker and Osmo told me many moons ago. If you want to win a tournament, you have to be able to lose basically, or be able to withstand losing about a month's worth of what that top prize is going to be. That's sort of what you're looking for, is like to win a 100K tournament, you have to be able to put in 100K. Obviously, you don't want to have to do that, but in general, overall, I would say that being able to deal with the ebbs and flows of NBA DFS is probably the most important part of NBA DFS, whether it's just you can afford to lose the money or you play really strategically within your bankroll. One of those things kind of has to happen because NBA DFS can be winning, losing, doing all that. I think Alex is busy being a dad, but I haven't talked to him in a while. Jalen Williams, he did have a kid like a year and a half ago, so, that can take some time. Jalen Williams, and he's married too. Jalen Williams, 25% ownership. My top 150 fields at 29. Not a big stand here for Jalen Williams, basically with the field on it. Think he's an okay play at 7,800. Not as cheap as he was before, but still a 5.1x value for me, my projection set. Tyrese Halliburton, low on Halliburton today at 8,400. Price tag has come down. He was floating around 9K for a while with some of the outlier games. A couple of bad games in a row will do that. Last time out, higher usage for Miles Turner, higher usage for Pascal Siakam. We do know Halliburton's also been banged up. Halliburton, though, can put these outlier days out there randomly at any time. So I think with 21.5% ownership, that feels fair. Projection-wise, I only got him in 4% of my lineups because my projection is under 40 fantasy points for him today at 8,400. Evan Mobley. So weird thing with Cleveland is that they're not playing enough Allen and Mobley together. They do it a little bit, but basically Allen in the first half of last game. Let's pull up the popcorn machine because I'm looking at it on my laptop. And I could actually show you guys a visual aid. Mobley here, you can see, played the first stint alongside Allen. Allen played a little bit longer. When Allen came off the court, Mobley was on. Then Allen's gone for basically like 12 minutes in here, I think. He came out with 4.5 minutes left, came back in 7.5 left, but then Mobley went out. Basically, they're cutting the minutes that Mobley and Allen played together in some of these playoff games lately. It's something that some of the sharp basketball people out there, podcast scene, Zach Lowe might have talked about it a little bit, but the other guy, Nate Duncan, talked about it, I know for sure. One of the big reasons that there's a lot of success throughout the year for Cleveland was because they did abuse guys, the two big lineups, the Twin Towers lineups with Mobley and Allen. It seems like something they would want to get back to a little bit more, but they're seemingly prioritizing the wing defense and frankly, 3-point shooting as well, with Merrill still getting minutes. I don't know how that can go today, but it does feel like that's been the common critique from players, or from people rather, who've watched these players all year long, that Cleveland probably needs to make that shift. So it's an interesting thing with Mobley here where it could make him a little bit less effective in terms of projection, where he's not playing straight up 5 as much if Jarrett Allen plays more minutes, but it also can make the team a little bit better if they do go that way. Either way, I think Mobley here at 39% feels a little bit overowned to me, because if he does lose those center minutes, he's going to produce a little bit less. And frankly, he's not been a great producer in the series so far overall. Obviously, he's been banged up and injured too, so that's a big contributing factor as well. Mobley, not a priority for me, though, at 7,500. I don't think it's a bad price tag. He's a 5.2x value. I'm getting 27% of my lineups fields at 39. So Mobley, to me, I think the price tag stands out, but the projection, not so much. Darius Garland stands out to me a lot more at 6,600. If Mitchell is banged up, Garland has to absorb some more work. Ty Jerome also seems like he's just shell-shocked at this point. He can't make open shots. His usage is down under 18% as of last game. He's just not playing that well overall. He had a lot of opportunity last game when Mitchell went out, but still 16% usage his first stint without Mitchell, 20% after that. Just not the most involved. So I think Ty Jerome, if I had to guess, broken. I mean, maybe he can get back on track. If he does, he'll do it a lot less ownership than Mitchell and Garland. But Garland, to me, 36% ownership seems like a play to get over the field on. About 2x that at 69% ownership right now. A very nice number for Darius Garland after he put up high usage returning in his last game. And for what it's worth, Garland did play 27 minutes and change last game. Also played the entire third quarter in that run. Didn't play the fourth quarter at all because the game was out of hand. So for Garland here, if Mitchell's banged up, if Mitchell somehow gets in the game, starts, and then leaves, Garland probably plays all the minutes possible here because there's an elimination game in Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland, one of the biggest disappointments of the playoffs so far. Celtics being the returning champ and possibly getting knocked out in 5 games would be worse. But Cleveland, I mean, for a team that was front running all year, people thought they could win 70 games at one point. I think it'd be a real disaster if they lose here. So Garland's going to get his shots up, I think, no matter what. Jamal Murray been playing well this series for the most part, at least enough to note it. At 7,400, 41.6 minutes here. Again, not an elimination game for Denver, but it does feel like if you're not playing Jokic, playing Murray makes more sense. Certainly, if Denver were to win the game handily, Jokic and Murray can get there as well. But Murray, to me, if I'm going to have 100% Jokic, I really don't want a ton of Murray. 17% for me right now, 29% for the field. Still a 5x value, though, for me at a 37.2 projection. Aaron Gordon's been the guy I've advocated for all playoff, basically. He's been really the one thing that's paid off, I would say, almost every slate. I mean, a few he didn't make the winning lineup, but still did okay. But really outlier performances for him lately. Playoff-wise overall, Aaron Gordon is averaging he's only up to 0.9 fantasy points per minute. It's really nobody on the team. That's interesting. Nobody on the team is averaging over 1 fantasy point per minute besides Jokic in the playoffs. He's at 1.5. Jamal Murray's at 0.96. Aaron Gordon's at 0.88. Russell Westbrook's at 0.96. Those are your high guys. Brown is at 0.67. Porter Jr. is at 0.64, shooting 54%. I'm sure shooting's pretty bad. Point being, though, for Aaron Gordon, he's now one of your top producers for Denver, and he also plays a ton of minutes because he's going to be out there a bunch. Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown still functionally very similar plays, guys that play high 30s into 40 minutes. No minutes risk really for those guys. The minutes risk is entirely on Michael Porter Jr.'s side of things because when he doesn't play well, he gets pulled for Westbrook. If he does play well, he stays in there. Basically, if he's scoring, he'll stay out there. If he doesn't, he'll be out. For Aaron Gordon, though, he's reliable. So 51% again for me. Fields at 29. Really no issue with Aaron Gordon at projected to play 39 minutes at 6,200. Price tag's coming up, though. He was a lot cheaper some of the previous games. Chet Holmgren's had a good series as well. Seems to be locked into a lot more sentiments than Hartenstein, though they do want to play both guys a good amount. Holmgren, though, 28% for me, 4% for the field. He just didn't play well enough in the regular season. The rates haven't jumped up enough in the playoffs. He's producing well per minute with 1.2 fantasy points per minute, but the usage is basically where it was all regular season. Rebound rate, same thing. Assist rate a little bit lower. So Holmgren, to me, not doing enough in the playoffs to justify making him come up. But I'm barely getting him today in the fields, getting him at 28%. And Jared Allen, the last guy here, we talked about the big situation. He could get more minutes today. But last game for Cleveland, he only played 20 minutes and change. That's obviously including the blowout as well. But basically not on pace to play high 30 minutes no matter what, based on how the rotation has been so far. If they do go to him more, getting extra minutes on the projection here would help out a little bit. The 31-minute projection. I think Allen's on a great play at 6,500. You're taking on some risk. You need them to make a coaching change there, or coaching a rotational move where you're not going to see guarantees on that necessarily. I would hope you get Allen out there more, but there's really not a guarantee for it. Let's sort by value. Then we'll take the quick game-by-game look, and we'll go to the betting markets and the sim data here. And again, guys, if you're watching live or after the fact, please do hit that like button. Please subscribe. It all goes a long way for me here. Again, I'm mostly doing these videos for the love of the game at this point because I'm not getting paid per video like I was by Unabated all regular season. But I promise you guys I'd be here every day, and that's what I do because I'm still gambling on these slates, making my own data for them. So show some love, hit the like button, subscribe. Join the channel if you can as well. Discord, $5 down below. If you want all the data I show you on screen, you can join the Squirt Squad tier or the VIP tier and get access to that as well, updated throughout the night. Basically, whenever I update my stuff, I put it up there and push it live. So it's a pretty straightforward process. And a shout out to all you guys in chat. Appreciate all you guys joining live or whatever. Whenever you watch it, I appreciate you guys watching. Nikola Jokic. So we talked about him already. He's a top value for me again. Last slate, I forget, did he? It doesn't matter. I forget if he made the winning lineup or not last slate, but he was close enough to make it. I think he did. He's again the same situation here, a little bit too cheap for a guy, in a must kind of have spot, not a true elimination game, not a true do or die spot, the series being 2-2, but close enough here. He's going to play good minutes as long as the Thunder don't run away from it. If you don't play Jokic, I'd probably consider boosting Thunder guys more, boosting your SGAs, boosting Jalen Williams, Hartenstein, Holmgren in particular, Wiggins off the bench, maybe Caruso, probably not so much. Minutes have been down for him this series. But basically, if Jokic doesn't get there, I would guess it's most likely because Thunder ran away with it. They pulled Jokic in the third quarter. He didn't get that first quarter stint, couldn't get there. But Jokic, you can see here, he's coming to 100% for me. I don't really know that I want to play him 100%, but the logic is there. The projection is there. That's how it looks. SGA too expensive. I would agree. I mean, you can see the projection / value gap here. And frankly, too, if the field's going to play SGA more, 40% ownership projected by Stokastic, greater to 37% for Jokic. I'd rather play Jokic at that amount. It just feels like too much of a gap to me to have 100% Jokic is 17% SGA when these guys, certainly similar ranges of outcomes for their ceiling being hit. And again, trying to play them together a little bit seems like a good move as well. Darius Garland, we talked about enough already. He's a top value for me. Michael Porter Jr. hinted on basically what the big issue for him is all series. I've been mentioning it every time we have the Nuggets on a slate. Basically, if he plays well, he will get good minutes. If he doesn't play well, he's going to get subbed out. Let's look at the last popcorn machine here for Denver. So Porter Jr., you could see putting up 1.2 peripherals here, missing some shots. Westbrook comes in. Actually, no, Westbrook was already in for it. Played those minutes. Porter Jr., Porter Jr. got to 34. He still got subbed out for Westbrook in the second half. I mean, these guys, it's weird. These guys are definitely taking minutes directly from each other, but they're not direct backups. But more minutes together for Westbrook and Porter Jr. last game, so that's a positive. Still think that MPJ, he's a tough play to me. I mean, he only put up 3 points last game. That alone make him a tough play. It's tough for me to assume that he gets this amount of run again if he's not going to be good. 34 minutes feels like a lot for him. They played more with him. Try to look at this, the scoring patterns here. So they had Porter Jr. in, kind of blew the lead, dug back in here. They subbed him out. That it started to go pretty well for the Nuggets. Stayed going pretty well. It got worse when Porter Jr. came out. And Porter Jr. played terribly last game, but he had a plus 15. It's really weird for Porter Jr. Still a push-pull dynamic with those guys because the closing five is most likely going to be Murray, Gordon, Brown, and Jokic no matter what. So it's Porter Jr. and Westbrook competing for that closing stint. Last game, it was Porter Jr. closing over Westbrook. Neither had a good game. I wouldn't say you want to force yourself to get one of Porter Jr. or Westbrook, but I would still play max one of Porter Jr. and Westbrook if that makes sense because I just don't think they both can get there fantasy-wise. Neither's played well enough in a game where the other one has also played well. So I think for Porter Jr., he is in play today. Feels like too much in play for me with 66% of my lineups cleared to the field's 30. But again, he played 34 minutes last game and he was awful. So that's what it is. He doesn't go for rebounds, runs this arm hanging. I mean, he's got the injured shoulder, so I get it. But yeah, he's not putting in a lot of effort. Part of the reason he was, so beloved coming out of college and all that, or at least, going into college, was like, he's a pretty good rebounder and a knockdown shooter. He's still technically a knockdown shooter, but he hasn't been in the playoffs. He's probably not a great player to have on the court right now, to be honest, but the owner loves him. They play him, and they played him more minutes than he probably deserved last game, so that might be something to read into. Aaron Gordon, the top value, talked about him. Obi Toppin, a good value at 3,500. He's kind of like Mitchell Robinson, who I think actually did make Steve Buzzard's winning lineup yesterday. I mentioned on the show that I saw Robinson and Towns coming in some lineups together. I separated them out, basically played max one of Towns and Robinson, so had a few lineups with Robinson that worked pretty well. For Obi Toppin, same thing here, where the pull for him would be he will hit more likely in a game where Siakam doesn't play as well. Miles Turner to a lesser extent. But I would say that for Obi Toppin, he's a value guy at 3,500. There's nobody else who's close to him, really. I think he'll come up a good amount for you guys out there. Got him in 49% of my lineups, which is a lot. Fields at 27. Don't love Obi Toppin, but I do think he is in play as a cheap guy here. Just when you need to get somebody who gives you maybe 18 to 20 points, you can do that. At Splash Play Pod channels where I do my NFL best ball stuff, so you can check it out. It should be, I think it's linked in the channel, but at Splash Play Pod on YouTube. It's a much bigger channel, so it should be pretty easy to find. Max Strus coming in here as a value at 5,400. Christian Brown, very similar plays here. Max Strus's usage has been pretty good these playoffs so far, at least this last couple games. Overall in the playoffs for Max Strus, he's only putting up 17% usage, but 1.04 fantasy points a minute. Shooting incredibly well in the playoffs with 63% true shooting. He's been good enough. Getting him above the field feels fine. I would not fade Max Strus, but I think he and Christian Brown, similar players here in that I don't think the ceiling is crazy high for them when the teams are full health, but maybe they can get you to 30, 35 if the moon and stars align. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 10K salary for him, still technically on the top value chart, even though he's not a great value. We've talked about him enough already. I'm under the field. Mobley, talked about him. Hartenstein and Keyshawn Wallace, two underpriced guys overall. I haven't. I mean, they should be pretty obvious. I think when you see me have, I would think Nikola Jokic today probably a splash play. I'm getting 100% of him. For a 2-game slate, you probably use deductive reasoning, but I'll try to say them out loud at the end of the video. Keyshawn Wallace and Hartenstein, though, two guys a little bit underpriced for as much of the rotation as they are. Wallace has had one good game in the series. I still don't think he's like a reliable play. He and Caruso, they just don't want to go small quite as much. But Hartenstein, 29 minutes here, looks okay. Wallace is a value at 3,200. He and Obi Toppin, kind of the same thing here. There's nobody else really in their price range that's playable. These guys coming up above the field feels fine. Thoughts on Jalen Williams? I don't think there's enough minutes there unless Hartenstein gets hurt. Let's look at the OKC rotation from last game. Jalen Williams played 12 and a half minutes. Didn't do a whole lot out there. He basically played not every minute that Hartenstein was off the court, but a lot of them. They went two big, as you can see here, with Holmgren and Jalen Williams. And then they went just Hartenstein. Second half, I think, was the same thing. Yeah, they had like 1 minute of... Actually, no. They played a couple of minutes here with no big men, then decided they wanted the big man back in. Then they decided they wanted the second big man back in. Then they thought, let's use the other big man instead. So weird rotation things, but you can kind of get a feel for what the coach is feeling out here a little bit. With actually one period... No. Okay, never mind. I thought there was a moment where they played Jalen Williams with Hartenstein and Holmgren. Seems like they like playing two big men. They tried out not playing two big men for a minute or two. Didn't like that. Immediately went back to two big men. Would think that no matter what, though, Jalen Williams is mostly just a direct pivot point or direct backup to Hartenstein. So I don't think he's really a play. He is a cheap guy. If Hartenstein gets in foul trouble, he gets there. But I'd probably take a shot at Wiggins more because of the fact that Wiggins has like actual scoring upside. Jalen Williams doesn't really have the ability to get a ton of usage fast, whereas Wiggins can absolutely do that. So, but neither guy is projecting that well as it is. Deductive reasoning in a YouTube chat blast. It's true. I know people don't want to do any legwork, but usually the splash plays at this point of the year. Frankly, I think all year they've been pretty obvious, but I would say this point of the year they should hopefully be the most obvious. Let's go the game by game view here. Hopefully, we'll make some quick time because I think we've already talked about basically everybody in the slate. Indiana 111.3 implied points. Cleveland a 7.5 point favorite at home. Halliburton's really the only one I'm not getting any of here. Feels not great to fade Halliburton at this point, given the fact that he has had a lot of outlier days in the playoffs. That said, you're getting good ownership on Siakam, good ownership on Miles Turner. I'm getting 20% of those guys. Still under the field there, but they're going to be played by about a third of the field, it looks like. Nembhard still playing good minutes. Neesmith still playing good minutes. But the minutes here not getting quite as high as some other playoff teams out there. It's also not a do-or-die spot for Indiana, so not necessarily a thing where they have to push these guys to 40 minutes today. They could save that for game 6 when they're back at home and hopefully try to close out the series there. For Indiana, wouldn't be shocking to see a throw in the towel day early if Cleveland actually plays well today. So to me, being under the field on Indiana feels okay. I don't want to predict blowouts or anything, but I do feel like, Boston might just be fucked, but I really feel like Cleveland and Boston both just did not play up to their potential here. And obviously they're both still behind the 8 ball with the 3-1 deficits. But Cleveland, I think, can still win the series. Boston, if Tatum's hurt, I don't think can win the series. Or it'll be really hard for them to do so. I guess is a better way to put that. I just think this feels like, to me, an Indiana pack it up kind of night. But if they close out the series here, the ownership's maybe not high enough to reflect that. Like a competitive game here where Indiana puts up 130 points is absolutely not being reflected in the ownership right now. For Cleveland on their side, them defending home court and extending the series here seems like it is very much being accounted for by ownership. As talked about, Garland's my favorite play here, getting him at 70% of my lineups just about. Mitchell at 32, Mobley at 39. I think those are a little bit of a tougher number for me to hit. Really don't see the projection being there. Mobley, though, 7,500, nice price tag. Mitchell banged up. He's been good this series, but I really don't want to point chase a guy coming off an injury when he has a point guard next to him who wanted to shoot last game, got a lot of shots up, had 50% usage in one of his stints that he had last time out as Darius Garland. I think Mitchell defers more this game no matter what. See, I really wouldn't say that. I mean, I don't know the series odds right now. I presume it's like, what, minus 250 or something for the Pacers? That's off the top of my head, though. Fuck it, we can look it up. FanDuel Sportsbook. I don't know why FanDuel's the one that my brain goes to. Let's see what FanDuel thinks of it. NBA. Use playoff series. The Pacers minus 320. All right, so plus 260 for Cleveland. That's not as long of an odds as you would think for a 3-1 series to be the main thing I would say. Cleveland was also such a good team all year. It's really hard to dig out from a 3-1 hole. I fully admit that. It hasn't happened that often, no matter what sport for that reason. I just think that a lot of people are going to have that same thought process that Jake has here, and they're going to write off the Celtics and Cavs. I don't think that's the move. The Cavs can absolutely win today. I mean, they're favored again by 7.5 points. Boston can win with a Jaylen Brown, Derek White-led effort. Like, these things can still happen. So I think the field's going to really be saying, oh, these guys are done. Prepare for them to fucking throw in the towel. In reality, you're better off playing these guys, being competitive, and winning a game here. And I think Cleveland, really, you should be playing that outcome. The field's doing it anyway, but like, don't fade Cleveland because you think the series is over. Even if they lose today, they're still probably putting forward their best effort of the entire playoffs because this is the elimination game. This is the last game of the year. Unless you think they're like a 1-2-3 Cancun team, which, it's a separate take. Denver, 105.3 implied points here. So not a high total for Denver. That said, Jokic making in every lineup for me 100% of my sim top 150 lineups have him. Still don't practically want to play him 100% because he's going to be pretty owned. That said, he looks less owned than SGA based on Stokastic's data. So I'm getting the less owned pay up option and going over the board with it, or going above things with it rather. I think that's fine by me. Jamal Murray, higher likelihood to hit if Jokic doesn't hit. Aaron Gordon has been good all year. We've talked about that enough for really the entire playoffs. Christian Brown, same thing. Porter Jr. and Westbrook, kind of an either-or choice here. Porter Jr. projects better. Westbrook, though, has had more reliable minutes, but Porter Jr., they fed a lot of minutes to last game, even though it was absolutely awful. Shout out, guys, joining live. Appreciate Green Checkmark being here. And Cleveland doesn't seem like a team to give up. Could be wrong. I agree. I mean, Atkinson is the coach as well. Seems like the kind of guy that would push him to the limit and make that work. I don't think so. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. My mic looks okay. Anyway, for Denver, elimination game, basically, or near elimination game. Not a full elimination game, so some risk here. The Thunder run away with it is how that could be. For OKC, 115.8 implied points. We talked enough about these guys for the most part here. SGA, not as good of a play to me as Jokic, so I try to find a way to scroll this to the right height. There we go. Hartenstein to get his minutes. Caruso, less guaranteed minutes at this point. Caruso, did he play a few more last time out? Hold on. Oh, I'm now on a different window. Give me 1 second here. All right. Caruso last game. Yeah, Caruso got to 28 minutes last game. And that was with double bigs. So I didn't realize that. He played over Dort. Huh. So he closed over Dort. That's an interesting wrinkle here. Because if Caruso could play over Dort, that changes the whole dynamics of what they've been the entire playoffs. So yeah, I think Caruso a little bit more in play, but like risky because he was out of the rotation. They were giving his minutes. He and Hartenstein are basically competing the same, fifth man minutes, the same closing 5 minutes. Now you have Dort losing minutes to him, so that's not good. And they seem like they wanted to play two bigs. They tried not to play two bigs and went back to it. So I think Hartenstein and Holmgren probably safe minutes-wise. Dort, you're one who's at minutes risk, and he's been pretty bad the playoffs so far. I'm sure the defense has been fine, but not shooting a lot, not producing very much, so maybe they just want a little bit more on the offensive side, the creation side. But that's interesting to think. I just didn't catch that with that game. So that's, yeah, Caruso more in play. Still not the slam dunk value play he was earlier in the playoffs, but he's more in play here. And Keyshawn Wallace, still not a great play, but he's coming up. Aaron Wiggins coming up. Wiggins with the usage, I would favor a little bit more at 3,100, but Keyshawn Wallace is going to get a few more minutes. These guys are functionally the same play at 3,200 and 3,100. They just have different positions. All right, so let's go to Unabated next. Let's see what the betting markets have for us. And we'll go to Stokastic, see what their sims have as well. And let's go over here. Let me very slowly log in. This is for some reason it just locks up. And there we go. Now I'm logged in. All right, there's my account. And of course, for Unabated, we're going to use the market-based data here, but they're conditional NBA projections made by Justin Fan, industry vet from Fantasy Labs, Underdog, a basketball monster. He's now running things for Unabated. It has been since the start of the regular season. People have made combined, I think we're at $160,000 for the first projection release and the ones that come out, or the update that comes out 30 minutes for tip-off for all the NBA games. They made people a lot of money is really the main takeaway to have Unabated, whether you're betting not their projections, sorry. Market-based ones. Whether you're betting pick'ems or you are betting trying to bet like a professional, getting in a ton of volume of bets, every sportsbook you possibly can that are plus EV, Unabated's a great tool for you. There are people that make a lot of money off of Unabated, including professional bettors out there to spend tens of thousands of dollars a given day just trying to maximize their edge with Unabated stuff. The Sims tools, the market-based projections, their proprietary projections in particular, can add a lot of value. So check out Unabated for yourself. Link in the description. Get 20% off their monthly packages or their season package, which is probably not a great deal at this point. WNBA coming up for them as well, which will be a good deal. So check it out, Unabated, and we'll see what we get. All right, we got bets coming in. There we go. It's a little bit slow for the top ones. All right, really nice EVs for games on the same day. Surprising to see because it's not happened very often. Bad line by Underdog here, under 20.5 points for Jamal Murray, 5.8% EV. So that's one to slam dunk and to pick him right now. For market-based numbers, you generally want a 2% or higher ROI. You can get away with 1% higher theoretical EV there with your win rate times your win amount minus your loss rate times your loss amount, reflecting the various expectations of win rate and all that. Jamal Murray, though, this line just mispriced. So there's a really high line for market-based stuff. For a sim one, it wouldn't be that crazy high. 5.8% EV for Jamal Murray and playable as well for Jamal Murray. Under 20.5 points on DraftKings Sportsbook. It gets you 3.1% EV. Lou Dort, we got under 8.5 points, 2.3% EV. For Lou Dort on DraftKings Sportsbook, not playable anywhere else. Take that Lou Dort line here, under 8.5 points. Anthony Edwards, we got under 28.5 points. Good to go on Underdog if you needed bet desperately. 1.5% EV is a little bit low, but you could take these two bets on Edwards and Allen's under on points on Underdog if you need to fill out a pick'em card. Assuming we don't get any better bets, I would say put a pin in those. Be the best way to put that. Looking at rebounds next. All right, Naz Reid, high EV for tomorrow. And usually in NBA playoffs, I've mentioned it a few times on here, but just if you guys are new, in the NBA playoffs, when you have the games that are coming up tomorrow, 2 days from now, you tend to find better expected value on those games because the markets haven't had time to catch up. For the ones that are day of, you're usually finding less EV. So it's surprising to see lines like that Jamal Murray line have so much EV. Naz Reid, 6.5% EV on over 4.5 rebounds today. -105 odds on DraftKings. And again, that's for the game coming up tomorrow with Minnesota and Golden State. So Naz Reid over 4.5 rebounds for tomorrow's game with Minnesota Golden State. Draymond Green under 6.5 rebounds for tomorrow as well. -120 odds on DraftKings gets you 4.7% EV. That looks good. And this one's playable tonight for Nembhard over 3.5 rebounds, +105 odds on DraftKings. Basically 2% EV on that one, and it's plus money. So I would take that. Westbrook, if you need it, over 3.5 rebounds at +120, playable at 1.9% EV. Assists coming up next. Let's see. Anything at all? Assists might be barren. Yeah, no bets I'd recommend. Buddy Hield under 2.5 assists, close. Karl Anthony Towns under 1.5 assists, close. Yeah, I wouldn't do any of the assist bets, really. Unless you just need action. Unless you just desperately need action and want to increase your sample size, probably wouldn't take those assist bets. And again, the logic for that would just be like if you're placing 1,000 bets, you could throw in a few 1% or higher bets because it's got enough of a difference there that'll probably help you out over the course of a larger portfolio. But if you're placing one bet, like if I had a gun to my head and somebody's like, you got to give me one good bet, I would never give that person a 1% EV bet because it's just basically the same thing as the market pricing anyway. We got Jonathan Kuminga under 24.5 PRAs, -105 odds on DraftKings, gives you 3.1% EV. Jimmy Butler under 39.5 PRAs, also on DraftKings, -110 odds, gets you 2.9% EV. Josh Hart under 27.5 PRAs, -125 odds, gives you 2.4% EV. All these on DraftKings. So DraftKings, 3 lines here that are not very good. Frankly, if you want to make a parlay, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Draymond Green over 20.5 PRAs. You could play this one at +110 on DraftKings as well. 3 soft lines with one that's pretty soft as well on top. Not a bad day to be betting on DraftKings Sportsbook. My still sports betting or sticking to DFS grind, mostly DFS at this point because I just don't have the time to do sports betting stuff with the various sports going on. I would like to do WNBA betting with Unabated's data or my own. But I just like time is really tough. Like the 3 sport thing, frankly, a lot harder for me this year than it was last year with just doing best ball and then betting on top of that. So that's been the haul for me. Just like the amount of time I have in a day feels like not high enough for the amount of things I'm doing. So it's been tough because for betting to me, you really need to be placing a lot of bets. I will be to be candid, I've placed 1 or 2 bets a couple days from various products out there. And I'm like, this is not the smart way to bet. And I haven't gotten great results with that. The way to bet is that unfortunately you should be tethered to whatever betting site you're using, checking it every hour on the day. For Unabated, you could check market-based stuff with some regularity and just check when their projections drop. But for an odd shopper with Stokastic, which is also linked down below if you want to check that out for 50% off, it's you got to do it all day. So I don't have that in my workflow is the biggest issue. If there were a content thing I do, I was thinking at one point, I should reach out to Profit X to see if they want to do a sponsored stream. If I were doing it in the flow of content like I do for best ball, I'd probably be gambling more on that. But yeah, I don't know. It's really, you got to dedicate the time. I mean, it's true of anything, but it's easier for me to dedicate the time to DFS because I have a real easy process for it. Betting, it's at least in terms of how I view betting, what I know about it, I would want to get down so many bets in a given day. And I don't care. It's the biggest issue. And when I do try to do it, I'm like, all right, now I'm going to start doing it. And it's like, I do it for one day and I'm like, I don't want to do it again. That's not the way to bet. If you're going to try to become a bettor who uses like tools to the fullest extent, you got to be doing it. Like I would commit to doing it every day or, every weekday at the very least for 3 months with whatever, bankroll you could put down for it. You want to give yourself enough time to actually materialize whatever advantage you would theoretically have. And if you're doing it here and there, you're just never going to materialize that value. At least that's how I view it. People may disagree. Your top ROI line is with Stokastic data. And again, this one, no influence for me here. Just Stokastic's projections and their sim. So you saw what my data is overlaid on their sim. Now we'll see what they have. Number one ROI lineup is Darius Garland, Max Strus, Christian Brown, Obi Toppin. So the value play makes it in here. Miles Turner, Alex Caruso, Evan Mobley, Nikola Jokic. So they like Jokic a little bit here at least. Nothing else too crazy. The Toppin value seems to be the main thing here. And again, you're playing Toppin without Siakam, so that's your most logical way to play Toppin in the hopes that maybe Siakam loses a few minutes because of just dead ball flow and how that works, or foul trouble. Number two, you have Darius Garland again, Kason Wallace, Michael Porter Jr., Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, SGA, Chet Holmgren, and Hartenstein. Very Thunder heavy here at the end. You're getting Garland in again, so Garland it feels like Stokastic will be advocating for, much like I did earlier in the video. Number three, Darius Garland again, Kason Wallace, Max Strus, Evan Mobley, Miles Turner, SGA, Michael Porter Jr., Jared Allen. Number four, TJ McConnell, Alex Caruso, Aaron Wiggins, Obi Toppin, Miles Turner, SGA, Evan Mobley, Nikola Jokic. So McConnell is your cheap value here. Toppin, you got two of them, I guess, in order to fit in SGA and Jokic. Number five, SGA again, Benedict Mathurin, Aaron Wiggins, Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, Christian Brown, Obi Toppin, Nikola Jokic. So all right, so Jokic again. Little heavy on Pacers to me with Toppin and Siakam and Mathurin and Turner. You got Aaron Wiggins here, hopefully being a microwave off the bench, getting some points. I live with that lineup. I think these lineups are interesting. There's interesting to see as well. How many lineups is that up top? Only two up top, but still 2 out of the 5 lineups with SGA and Jokic together. Your highest ROI players according to Stokastic. Obi Toppin at number one, negative 5% ROI. Negative number doesn't matter. The directional part is what matters here. He's your number one ROI guy across Stokastic's data. Number two is Kason Wallace. So basically getting these two value guys in seems to be very important. According to Stokastic, I imagine they're going to be in a lot of the lineups here when we look at those exposure numbers in a minute. Miles Turner at number 3, Michael Porter Jr. at number 4. So they're supporting him here amidst the minutes going so crazy high last game, despite him being awful. Alex Caruso at number 5, Christian Brown at number 6, Jared Allen at number 7. So really no legit players up top here. I guess Miles Turner kind of legit, but all guys you've got question marks about, really not guaranteed minutes, not guaranteed roles and opportunity, are all your top ROI guys. So it's going to be one of those slates that probably rewards 150 maxers would be my guess. Highest exposed guy, according to Stokastic's top 150 lineups, Michael Porter Jr. 62% Michael Porter Jr. compared to the field's 30. So more than 2x the field stand on Michael Porter Jr. in Stokastic's data. Miles Turner 59% fields at 36. So he's coming up big. He's had a few really big games lately. Feel like he's the one thing that feels like the easiest part to go away and fail if we are going to see Indiana lose a game. But you're getting a lot of Turner today with 60% of him in the lineups here. Nikola Jokic, 60% for him as well. Fields at 37. So not quite a 2x stand on Jokic, but still definitely a favorable stand for him with almost 60% of lineups having him in Stokastic's top 150. Obi Toppin, 52%, fields at 27.5. Really big stand on Toppin. Christian Brown, 51%, fields at 32. SGA, 49%, fields at 41. Mobley, you're basically flat with the field at 41% and the field at 40. Highest leverage guys, Porter Jr., 33% more in the field. It's crazy. Obi Toppin, I mean, it's not crazy because we saw what the minutes were on Popcorn Machine. Like, he got a lot of minutes when he played like dog shit. Probably a good sign for him, but that's just so much Michael Porter Jr. given how bad he's been all series. Maybe that makes people play less, though. Like, the Sims are saying he's a great play, and human nature will probably make it be played less, to be my guess. Slash the fact that we all have eyes. Obi Toppin, 25% leverage, so playing him 25% more than the field. Really big stand for a value guy, and definitely a bigger stand than Kason Wallace. Miles Turner, 23% more in the field. Jokic, 22% more. Christian Brown, 19% more. Kason Wallace, 13% more. The value guys seemingly very important here. Looks like 90% of lineups have at least one of Toppin or Kason Wallace. Caruso here, 13% leverage more than the field. 39% of him overall. Negative leverage guys, you're barely playing Donovan Mitchell, only 10%. Fields at 30. I think that's fine, given the price tag being so high and the fact that if he's playing today, which I assume he's going to play, he is playing banged up. Aaron Nesmith, negative 18% leverage, only 4% for him. Fields at 22. I like Neesmith more. He doesn't project terribly well, but to me, he's in that Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown tier of guys that are going to play 30 to 40 minutes. Definitely Indiana playing less minutes overall, especially with them not being on the brink of elimination. But I think he's an okay play. I'm surprised to see this hard of a fade on him. Jalen Williams, 11%, Fields at 29. Pretty big stand there against him with negative 18% leverage. Andrew Nembhard, negative 17% leverage on him. You're really not playing him a ton. With only 7% exposure compared to the Fields 24. Aaron Gordon, they're low on. That surprises me too. Price tags come up, so I get it from that respect at 6,200. But he's been a reliable part of them all playoffs, and I think he's played better in the playoffs this year than he's played at any point in his career, besides just kind of empty calorie stats when he was on in Orlando. Surprised to see an Aaron Gordon fade. Lou Dort fade makes sense given the fact that he lost minutes to Caruso last game, as we just saw. And Isaiah Hartenstein, negative 9% leverage. They do want to play him, but they want to play Holmgren more. So I get that, I guess. All right. So a few surprising ones to me here. But guys, I'm going to give you guys my splash plays for the day, and I will remember to do it today because apparently I'm not doing it thoroughly enough at the end here. But show some love before you dead. Our plugs. Please subscribe down below. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. Again, I'm just one dude here running an NBA / at some point an MLB channel. And also going to be doing the NFL shows today, 3 p.m. on Stokastic, doing a DraftKings draft. 4 p.m. on the Splash Play Pod channel where I do all my NFL content. I'm doing a drafters draft today, so check that out on there if you want to get some more from me. But again, I do a lot of work in a given day just to stay afloat here and know enough to talk to you guys intelligently about all these sports. So hopefully it shows here on stream, but just show some love if you can back. Hit the like button, subscribe. Check out Unabated too, 20% off, link down below. Again, that's all their data, the sim stuff, conditional projections, all that you can get for yourself for 20% off. And Stokastic, 15% off all their data, all their sims tools, link down below no matter what sport. If you want to play NBA, you want to try out MLB, want to try PGA for this week, follow your heart. It's all for 15% off. A link down below. And join the Discord too. Great way to support the show, $5. And you can also get all my data. You join the Squirt Squad tier or the VIP tiers. All right, splash plays for the day. Nikola Jokic has to be one given the projection. Darius Garland as well. Usage was high for him last game. He's another one, 6,600. Thinks it's like a splash play to me. Sucks, but Michael Porter Jr. has got to be a splash play as well. Got more than 2x the field on him with that Stokastic ownership, so I think he is it. Aaron Gordon, I would say, would still be another one now. Not quite as bullish as when he was a little bit cheaper, but still a guy that's very much in the hunt for me. And sort by projection here just to see if I'm missing anybody. Those are definitely my core, though. And then anybody else? Nah, I think that's it. I think that's the group. So there's your splash plays for the day, guys. Show some love again. Hit the like button, subscribe, gamble responsibly, even it's always money time here. I'll be back at 3 p.m. on Stokastic, 4 p.m. on Splash Play Pod, doing a best ball draft on there too. Come hang out for one or both of them, but gamble responsibly again, no matter what you're doing. And I'll see you guys again soon. Enjoy your days. Good luck, and bye-bye.